Okay, hey people, how are you? Ooh, that light is extra bright. There we go. Let's make it a little darker. Welcome to our first lecture. I always have a couple of notes over here to the side. So if you see me over to the side, that's where they are. But welcome to this first few pieces of the lecture. It's all going to be on fashion styling. Even though this module, we're going to cover fashion styling and image consulting. This portion of the lecture, we're just going to talk about styling. So that's why this is just the fashion styling profession. Okay. So we're going to talk about in this first tab. So on this first part of the lecture, we're going to talk about, literally what is styling, what a stylist does, what entails, what characteristics are needed to be a stylist. We're going to talk about the areas of styling, a little bit of the misconceptions and demystifying what a stylist does. And then we'll talk about a little bit about trend spotting, freelance versus salary. So those are some of the things we're going to talk about in this section of the lecture. So again, I broke the video up into bite-sized chunks to no section is more than 15 minutes. I do that for a reason because you don't want to watch a 45 or 60-minute long video. So I break it up into 15 max 15-minute chunks. Okay. All right. And then sometimes I'll be down here at the bottom. Sometimes it'll just be my voice. It just depends on how I'm feeling the day I record the lecture. All right. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about styling. And, really in the broadest sense, styling is, arranging things in a visually pleasing manner. Let me move forward next. There we go. What is styling? It's arranging things in a visual pleasing manner, right? These items, it can be clothing, it could be furniture, it could be food. And when we get to image consultant, it could even be a person's entire appearance, right? So hair and makeup as well. And styling is a creative endeavor, and fashionistas are styling. Again, fashionistas that's a unisex term, so fellas, don't get mad. You're a fashionista too, like a barista. You're a fashionista too. And that person doing the styling, the stylist, it has to be artistically inclined and visually talented, and able to work to create as a member of a team to create a visually stunning image. And either you have taken fashion history before this, or you'll take it later, and you've either taken fashion design 45, which is just talks about aesthetics, right? Those things are both really important for a stylist to have. It's important for a stylist to have a little bit of fashion history under their belt, so they can help when a client or they're referring to, a period or a style or a designer, and shows your level of expertise. So hopefully if you have not taken either fundamentals of design for fashion or fashion history, you will take them soon. And if you've taken them already, you already have this kind of as a baseline for you. So styling is the process of orchestrating, clothing and the products that go with it, right? So accessories, so jewelry, glasses, if that's the case, shoes, those things as well, for either, photography or print or film, the mediums, right? And we're going to talk about those three areas. We're going to talk about those mediums in just a second. And fashion styling, in theory, doesn't involve designing clothes, although there are some stylists that have turned into designers, like Rachel Zoe. We'll talk about her a little bit more later, or working with a designer on behalf of your client to create the look that they are looking for. So, styling really involves putting together pieces to make ensembles, right? And there are really kind of three areas of fashion styling. There's print, so either 2D, so books, magazines, print ads, right? So books, magazines, social media does count as a 2D. It's not a 3D version. Catalogs, those types of things. Advertisements, that's probably the best way to say it. And then for the entertainment industry, which is that whole host of entertainment industry things, and stylists. Stylists are essential to that industry. So they're, an essential element of, photo shoots and runway shows and TV and commercials and catalogs. And at this point, Instagram, right, is entertainment, and red carpet galas and music videos, all of those things, right? But stylists also do make regular old people keep their wardrobes current and make sure that they are, appropriately dressed for business meetings or just for folks that are too busy to find the appropriate things for a special event or vacations, that kind of stuff. So those are all of the things. That fashion stylists do. And, to best serve their clients across all of these different subsets, it's really important that fashion stylists stay ahead of trends, right? That they understand themes, right? So stylists really have to have an eye for color. And sometimes that means putting together kind of unexpected items to get your client to where they want to be. And stylists really have to be able to, show those important themes that are happening for either a season, right? If they're styling for a contemporary client, or again, for a period, if they're doing something that has a historical theme. And I've been really pleased, enlightened, excited. Like, I'm a person that I watch, historical TV shows and movies, and I'm looking at the costuming, I'm looking at the garments. And, there's been a really big trend lately. I'm going to say the first time I really could see it, I could pinpoint it, and it might have happened before, but when I was able to pinpoint it was with the movie Black Panther, where they took a lot of African print fabrics that are really traditional and they styled them in very contemporary manner. And then there's been a couple of movies and series that have come out recently that have like a Victorian theme or a historical theme, but they are using non-traditional fabrics in historical pieces. So they're using non-traditional fabric for a Victorian era movie, or they're using non-traditional fabric for a Viking movie. So unfortunately, because of my knowledge of fashion history and textiles, sometimes I'm just like, that is not the right textile. That Vikings would not be wearing that, right? Or I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they put this in a Victorian, in Victorian styling. So it's really important that stylists are able to do that. They're able to have an understanding of not just what's happening on the runway, but also possessing a working knowledge of, like I said, fashion history and street style and art and culture, and be able to put all those themes together into a context that is sellable, or it is, I don't necessarily say fashionable, but that is unique and forward thinking. And that's really what some of the most important pieces for a stylist to be able to do, right? So what are some of the traits that a stylist needs to succeed? So first, before you even dive into that, let me say first that there are a lot of misconceptions about stylists, right? About styling, about the career of styling. And, people envision that, their first job, they're going to be working with, whoever name your favorite celebrity, right? They envision it as being a really glamorous job, filled with, hot celebrities, top models, beautiful people, or folks that have a whole bunch of money, and expensive designer clothing. And, that they're just going to spend their day, sipping champagne, lounging with whoever their client is, right? Putting together these hot, outfits in some sleek office with whatever their favorite music pumping is. Mine would be 90s old school R&B or hip hop, right? So that's what they have that idea of. And that's not what stylists really do. They, very few stylists work for big name celebrities or big name designers, and really very few have really extensive budgets. And to start, stylists generally work with lesser known people with much smaller budgets and really tight spending caps to before they get to that point. So when you think of whoever your favorite stylist is, I have Instagram, and probably 80% of the people that I follow on Instagram are either designers or stylists. For my own personal reasons. So I have a handful of stylists that I absolutely love, and, I feel like some of them they're my spirit animal. Them are my spirit animal. I feel like they can do no wrong. And if I had that extensive budget, they would be styling me. But in the meantime, I'm styling myself very well. Thank you very much. But, often stylists just work with everyday clothing, right? They work with newer looks. They are shopping at Fashion Nova just like you are, right? They are in Forever 21 or Boohoo.com or Zara, pulling looks. And pulling looks on top of looks on top of looks. It really is, it's a down and dirty job because you may, pull 50 garments, 50 pieces. So tops, bottoms, dresses, skirt, whatever. And then all the accoutrement, all the adornments that go with that. So a selection of accessories and shoes to go with that. And the client selects one or two things, right? Or one or two things actually make it on the body for whatever campaign you're working on. So some of the personality traits that stylists really need to succeed is they have to, even if they don't enjoy teamwork, they have to be able to work with a team and work with a team of people that is ever changing. So it's very rare that a stylist will work with the same client, the same makeup artist, and the same hair stylist on every job. That's usually just not the norm. And in that ever-changing cast of characters, you have ever-changing personalities, right? So, if you know of any of the bigger stylists or even designers for this case, and they're not always the nicest people. Like, as much as I love Rachel Zoe and her style and, in the interactions I've seen with her employees, she's kind of nasty and curt, and, to her credit, she can do that. She's earned her place. But you have to be able to work with personalities, right? You have to have an eye for detail, because the little things really do matter. How the neck of this is folded is really important. And, that the earrings are the same level of shininess are really important. You have to be self-motivated and self-reliant because starting off, you're probably working for yourself and you're working for a client that doesn't have much money. So you really have to go out and fight for the people that you have. You have to have great verbal, written and visual skills. And that's in part because you will be talking to a lot of different people face to face with a different mindset, skill set, and economic background, right? So you have to be able to write at a high level verbally, written, and then how you express yourself too. You have to have some memorable personal style. People have to remember you, right? So, not that I'm a stylist, but I jokingly say I'm a tall girl. I'm 5'11". I have big hair. I usually have some giant earrings on, and even though I'm a tall girl, I still wear my 6-inch heels. So I always say I'm the tall black girl with the big hair in the room, right? So some kind of memorable personal style, and I'm like this all the time too. So some kind of memorable personal style. You cannot be a wallflower in this industry, and you have to have strong people skills because you will work with different types of personalities and different types of personalities with the same client, right? So you have to have strong people skills, and you have to be adaptable because the client will tell you explicitly what they want, and you will bring explicitly what they want. And they'll be like, that's not what I want. So you have to have plan A, B, and C all lined up. So those are some of the traits that you will need as a stylist. And later we'll in the written part of the lecture, we're going to dive into the qualifications that you'll need as well. Okay, so under this video, you'll get a written, the piece to read. The piece to read will be some of the written qualifications that you need to have too as a stylist. Okay. All right. So first section of the lecture is ending now, and then we'll dive into the next section. The next section here, I'll show you the preview, right? The specialties of fashion styling. We'll dive into that part in the next video.